I am making a vampire zombie deck profile, and I made this deck just for fun, so it wasn't at all meant to be competitive. But I use 3 Unizombie, one of the best zombies in the game. Then I use 3 Mizuki, followed by 3 Vampire Fraulein. And the reason I wanted to make the vampire deck was because of this card. Because Fraulein can actually increase this card's attack points. Red-Eyed Zombie Dragon. Because Fraulin's effect lets it increase the attack and defense of any zombie on the field. And then next I use 2 Vampire Familiar, 2 Vampire Retainer. Familiar, if it's special summoned, you pay 500 life points to add a vampire monster from your deck to your hand. And then Retainer's effect is, if it's special summoned, you pay 500 life points to add one vampire spell or trap. And then next I use 2 Gozuki, which can send one zombie from the deck to the graveyard once per turn. Then I use 2 Vampire Scarlet Scourge. Scarlet Scourge's effect is when it's special, normal or special summoned, you pay 1,000 life points to special summon one zombie or vampire from your graveyard. And then next is probably one of the most annoying vampires, but then I use 1 Vampire Red Baron. He is a walking creature swap that targets. And that is it for the monsters. But the reason I use Red-Eyed Zombie Dragon in this deck is because of how, if it kills a zombie, you then special summon it to your side of the field in defensive mode, which isn't very good against Link. But against Blue Eyes, it's actually kind of a good thing. And then for the spells, I use 3 Allure Darkness. Then I use 3 Zombie World, because this can turn all monsters on the field and grave into zombies, which means you can actually use Unizombies' effect to send a zombie from deck to the graveyard, and still be allowed to attack with everything. Because Unizombie normally doesn't let you attack with non-zombies. But that's also what lets you take stuff that Red-Eyed Zombie Dragon kills. And next I use 2 Terraforming. Then I use 2 Vampire's Desire, 2 Vampire's Domain, 1 for 1 Foolish Burial, 1 Book of Life, and 1 Monster Reborn. If you don't want to use Monster Reborn, then you can always use another Book of Life, because Book of Life is a Monster Reborn, but it also has to banish a monster from your opponent's graveyard. That is it for the spells. And for the traps, I use 2 Vampire's Domination. And I usually want to negate monster effects with this card's effect, because if you negate a monster effect, then you end up gaining life points equal to the negated monster's effect. It's really fun when your opponent just goes to use Alternative Dragon's effect. You kill it, and then you gain 3,000 life points. And then the last card, Vampire Awakening. This card special summons one vampire from your deck, but then destroys it during the end phase. And that is it for the traps. And then for the main deck, I use 1 Underclock Taker, 2 Vampire Sucker, 1 Cerberus, 1 Phoenix, and then for Synchros, I use 1 Black Rose Dragon, 1 Clearwing Synchro Dragon, 1 Psyframe Lord Omega. If I had multiple Omegas, I'd take out Clearwing and one of my anyway, and then another Shinui Solitaire. I'd either take out Shinui Solitaire and Clearwing, or Clearwing and Dark Rebellion. Dark Rebellion's only in this deck just for if it's ever needed, because it's actually stayed me a couple times. Then next is number 24, Dragos, the Vampiric Dragon. Then I use 2 Dhampir Vampire Sheridan. He is really fun to use with Vampire Red Baron, Because if you use an opponent's monster that you took from them, his level, you can treat that monster as level 6. Then I use one Photon Strike Bouncer, and to finish off the extra deck, I use one number 39. But again, if I had this deck, I would normally use 3 Omega. But if I had it, then I would take out Shiranui Solitaire and Clearwing, or Clearwing and Dark Rebellion. And that is it for the extra deck. If you have any suggestions to improve this deck, please leave a comment down below. Although the zombie worlds and Rise Zombie Dragons are only in this deck for it to be fun. If you don't want to use a fun version of the deck and make it competitive, then I would suggest taking those out and replacing them with more vampire cards. Like a third Domain, a third Desires, a third Scarlet Scourge, a third Retainer, and a third Familiar. And probably one or two vampire sorcerers. Anyway, thank you for watching.